So, welcome you all to this presentation on the topic design of experiment, which is the need of the hour, and it is one of the thrust areas currently the pharmaceutical industry is working, and it is an integral part or the one of the element of quality by design. Myself, VVS Naran Reddy, I am working as faculty in Department of Pharmaceutics, JSS College of Pharmacy, which is a constituent college of JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Mysuru. So to begin with, I would like to say that the views, thoughts, and information and opinions expressed in this presentation belong solely to the presenter, that is me, and not necessary to be reflected the views from the literature books. So that means is like, so there are some examples which I gave here to better understand the audience which is seeing this presentation. That is a statistical part. If you straight away take some books and if you read it, you'll feel sometimes like a frustrating and end up with a misleading or misinterpreted way of understanding the statistics. So I made it furthermore very easily to understand you better. So like that, there are some sections of this presentation I have made an easiest way to understand everyone very easily. Okay. The presentation is purely made with a lot of examples for student understanding purpose only. And this presentation we are nowhere using to commercialization or any kind of marketing purpose, or neither the benefit of institute or organization or whatever it is. This is only an academic presentation and it is useful for the students very much. Okay. So we all know the statistics is the basic integral part of DOE, and DOE is an integral part of QBE that we'll talk about later. So the moment the term design of experiments comes to the mind, by the many people having problem in understanding the design of experiments is it has some basic component of statistics. So we will see what is the opinion of the statistics when we pose these questions to the students or the audience. So most technical professionals express a mixture of fear, frustration, and annoyance. That means I don't want and I'm not able to do that. When we thought about statistics, this is basically opinion. If you ask somebody, how your opinion, it's not like everybody. Again saying it's most people, especially we are out of the track now of statistics or mathematics. So all of a sudden, if you ask you want to learn statistics or are these mathematical expressions, they feel like in first fear, they're frustrated, and also sometimes like no, I don't want to be involved in this. So it's sometimes hard even to pronounce the word, and many people, particularly after enduring the typical college lecture on the subject of statistics, they prefer to call it as sadism or statistics. So such kind of that's what when the end of the class, if you don't understand anything, you'll say no, this kind of terminologies. Statistics, however, they are not evils or they're not statistics. Every aspect of any discipline, it may be pharmacy, and if you take as an engineering or wherever, without statistics, one cannot able to conclude or one cannot able to have sound results. We should apply the statistics. They're really very useful, especially for the design of experiments is concerned. Okay, so that's what I want to say once again is statistics may be difficult. Maybe as you've seen the wording here as statistics, but it is very useful and it is necessary to learn. So what is my suggestion as a teacher in this topic is you need to learn completely the textbook, because every tool will not use all the statistics. Let us say take example of DOE here. It uses some tools which is from the statistics. If you learn those tools, you can able to interpret properly the results from the DOE. So we are going to see the tools in the later on part of this presentation. Let us move on to this too, because everything when you start, you should understand from where it was started and where it was now currently and what is the uses. So let us see the history of the statistics as well as design experiments. At the beginning of 12th century, Sir Ronald Fisher introduced the concept of applying the statistics during the planning stages of research rather than experimentation. So for suppose, the clinical trials, right? So when the clinical trial has finished, they will apply some statistical significance and find out whether the results are of utmost important, at most, they're really significant in the outcomes or whatever. That means at the end of the experimentation, they're applying the statistics. So the Ronald Fisher has opinion that instead of doing that at the end of the experimentation, during the planning or during the process of experimentation, if you could able to apply these statistics, it will give a better results than that of applying at the end of the experimentation. So when statistical thinking is applied from the design phase, that means when you're implementing the experiment, that means when you're preparing a tablet, when you're preparing some doses from, you start implementing with the well in advance the statistic, then you proceed, then you'll end up with having a quality product or quality into the product. So coming to the pharmaceutical industry, they're very late in adopting these paradigms, which I was saying before, the statistics or DOA compared to other sectors. Why? When engineering or when some kind of other sectors are very well advanced in doing this, why we are very late? We have to see. So what is the reason is our pharmaceutical industry are most of the time focused on blockbuster drugs. So what is the meaning of this blockbuster? Looks like blockbuster movie. So what is the meaning of blockbuster movie? When a movie has commercially hit, what is the meaning of commercially hit? Is earned more amount of money, has bought more amount of profits. So especially the pharma sector is concerned, where the profits are more is, of course, profits are in everywhere, but it's like blockbuster profits will come when you have a moiety which is successful in the market. Let us say currently the cancer is the now are the leading deaths. So now you have one new molecule. Now, if you if you sell a tablet and if you sell a molecule which is badly needed now, which one will earn more money to the manufacturer is obviously the molecule, the drug. That's why, if you could see the concept of IPR or patent, the new drugs they'll provide 20 years of the patenting, so that nobody can able to duplicate or sell the same drug. So in this 20 years of time, you can able to sell the product with a reasonable price or the money which you have invested, interlinking to that, and you can able to earn a lot of money. That's why most of the time pharmaceutical industry is focused on blockbuster drugs, while formulation development was mainly performed by one factor experiment studies. So before the coming concept of this qubit and DOE or whatever we are seeing here, before how the not even before now, currently also many industries how they're doing the product development is through OFAT experiments. So many people will ask this, what is the meaning of OFAT experiments, or this one factor at a time is when we design a product, let us say in the practicals you're doing in UGPG and you're preparing some tablet, what you will do is you will analyze one factor at a time. Let us say first you will see the flow properties, then you will see when you punch the tablet, when you see the hardness, friability, disintegration, dissolution, or any other in vitro studies or in vivo studies are there. But if it is, how beautiful it is if you get able to parallelly see all the excipients which you've taken and all the process parameters like granulation, punching, whatever you've taken, and all the responses from starts from the hardness to the dissolution, you can able to analyze parallelly both at a time. That is called as design of experiments. These are called as multivariate analysis. That means multiple variables you are taking and analyzing at a time. But whereas the OFAT experiments, which till today we are following, we are going to see the example in the next slides about the OFAT experiments. These are just like trial and errors. Okay, first batch you prepared. You got, like usually my target is, let us say, not less than 85% of resolution I want. So first batch got 80%. Still furthermore increase some other concentration. You will get next batch 83, next batch 85. So until you will trial and error, so many experiments. Let us say we used to have habit of writing F1, F2, F3, B1, B2, B3, and Exxon is still like infinity. There is no definition, and we'll stop where until we got the good results which is required. So that is basically OFAT, one fact at a time analysis. But the DY approach is not like that. Parallelly, you're analyzing all the factors and responses, and you will be able to come into conclusion what is the range of the factors to be selected so that I will get 85% release, the ideal region. Okay. So that is where where usually our pharma industry is not focused in this perspective of QBD or developing a product, whereas it's most of them focused on blockbuster drugs. So example of OFAT is effect of disintegrant on tablet disintegration. Time only we are bothered much, rather than what is the effect of this disintegrant on even dissolution, friability, all those things we never bother. So what is basically one OFAT experiment? You can see an example here. Let us say a teacher asked the students, a batch of the student to prepare and submit albendazole tablet, each containing 100 mg of albendazole. We all know what is the use of albendazole. They're going to prepare a tablet. So the moment the teacher given the assignment, what student is to do is they put a chart like this. Okay. And the chart is like totally confusing because except the drug concentration. Okay. Except the drug concentration, everything is variable here. Let us say 20 mg you have taken in one batch, another batch you have taken 19, 18, 15, again 20, 18, 15, 12. Similarly, if you take magnesium 2, 1, 0.5 and 5, 1, there are different ranges, and there is no correlation between B1 to B2, what way it is like. You see, because one experiment if you are increasing, another experiment you should decrease, another experiment you are increasing again, like there is a correlation should be there between that. That means you are not studying the factors. Let us say magnesium stearate, you are not studying in a particular range, let us say 1 to 2 mg throughout the experimentation. Similarly, starch 2 to 4 mg, some particular range you are not studying, so that the results are totally like a confusion results. Because if you, let us say, out of this they say the best batch is 89% B5, because you are saying the best on what way, 89. But here we don't know the reason behind this 89, because of either starch you are using as 2 mgc, CMC is not there completely here, carboxy methyl cellulose calcium, and magnesium stearate 2 mg. So what is the reason behind this getting 89? Why not other batches? So this kind of correlations also we never know if you are using OFAX, because like a blind experiment, trial and error, which batch is got good, that formula you fix it, that is the final formula. But that should not be like that, because sometimes it may take 100 experiments, sometimes may 200 experiments to get it. But DOE is not like that. The number of experiments are particular to the particular model. The model of, or the designs in the DOE are going to talk about in later on stages. So the number of experiments will be restricted to based upon the model DOE model, and we are able to perform and interpret the results within the specific number of experiments and within the specific ranges of excipients or the factors which are taken. Okay, so that is this is not the correct way to do then any experimentation, because you cannot maintain a quality anyway. Because the main problem is, let us say you have fixed the formula right now, let us say B5 is the formula. Tomorrow you do it once again B5, definitely you will not get 89%. Either it may fail, otherwise it may more, or there are a lot of reproducibility problems will come, because you have got this release in a luck, in a random manner without any logic. Okay, tomorrow it is failed 89%, not there, and some 85% came. But how are you going to repair it? How are you going to tackle this? But when you do, you know the logic. When you're doing DOE, you know the logic, like which excipient when you're increasing, what is happening. There is a correlation exists between the input and output variables. But that is not the case here. So I just put, some of the differences why DOE is more, advantageous than doing in one factor at a time experiments. You see each and every point here. Usually the problem with OFAT is n number of runs. It's like a trial and error. We don't know which experiment where we can able to stop it. But particular number of experiments is sufficient to come to a conclusion. The total number of runs depending upon the output. Here output, let us say dissolution 89%. If it comes, the number of experiments I'll stop, otherwise I'll keep on increase. Fix a number of experiments based upon the design which you are using. Let us say using a factorial design, response surface methodology, box bank and central composite design, whatever it is which you're going to see in the further slides in this presentation. So based upon the design, the number of runs is going to be fixed. It is basically a classical type. It's a traditional type. A study of one factor and one variable is basically an old type of doing it. And this is a scientific type of doing, because you have correlation between the excipient you're using and what is the response you're getting. You're able to understand what was happening when you're changing the concentration of the excipient. Consideration of all factors are equal. So here, that's what, there is no like discriminating between the factors. We think all factors are equal and we are just simply punching the tablet. We are stopping where it is getting good results. But here, we know the significance of each factor. Let us say, I'll tell an example. Magnesium stearate is highly useful in tablet ejection, lubrication. So magnesium stearate is mainly lubrication. And if you take starch, super, the binder, otherwise you take a super disintegrate cross caramellar sodium, which is highly useful for disintegration. So DOI will tell this excipient is influencing this particular response. There is a relation exists between. But in the case of, if you take a general experiment, that's what I said, it will generally, it will say, think everything is like a equal. When something failed, dissolution fails, you cannot able to understand which excipient is causing the dissolution failure. You cannot able to correlate like that. Similarly, you cannot also see interaction. No interactions can be seen, but here interactions can be seen. What is interaction means? Just now we are saying about cross caramellar sodium is a super disintegrant. Magnesium stearate is a lubricant. Sometimes magnesium stearate will retard the dissolution as per the science, because it will form some magnesium stearate adducts with the drugs. So sometimes there are chances one excipient will interact with another excipient and it will influence the response. If you further want to understand this simply, you take, I have a red color, a drop here. Let us say I have a green color drop. Okay. Now what I'll do is I will add some yellow color to this. But actually, you cannot see the exact difference, here. Just time for your understanding, I'm saying I have added an yellow color drop here and yellow color drop to this. Then you see the result. That means when you mix the green and yellow, there is no much color change because both are light colors. But when you mix a red, which is a dark color, and the yellow is a light color, you can see some kind of color changes. That is called interaction. When A and B or A and B excipients, when you're using together, sometimes it may not interfere with the results because each will see their own work. Disintegrant will see disintegration work, and magnesium stearate will see lubricant work, and they will not interact with each other. But there are some cases one will have interaction with other and will interfere with other work. That is called as interaction. In case of general experiments, you cannot predict in interactions because first of all, you should establish the correlation between the X and Y, right? But in the case of DY, you can able to do that. If any experimentation fails, the rest will vanish unassured. That means you have to start digging from the materials who gave you, from where the vendor you got it, what is the grade, what is the bulk density. After many things, you have to do surgical operation. But it's like author guys and they predict to one issue. You can able to predict which excipient is causing my dissolution, why it is failed, why it is disintegration is failed. You can able to correlate. Less knowledge from the experiments. You will not get any knowledge because you simply punching based upon the trial and errors. More knowledge because each and every step, every excipient role you can able to know from this. Maximum resources and the time. We should use so many batches, so many materials, so many trials, and most of the time you can use fixed number of experiments. When we are saying fixed number of experiments, it is fixed number of chemicals you're using, and you're also finishing with the time frame. Inaccurate information. So the information finally you got is doesn't have any meaning. Accurate information you'll get it. Sometimes misleading results, predictive. So we have proper results. Sometimes product subjects to failures. That's why this FDA recalls. The FDA recalls like sometimes the companies will get a call from the US FDA that your product has not giving the results which you're mentioning in the label claim, or it may fail the dissolution, it failed the bioavailability, all these things. The product, because when you prepare a product in the lab and when you're distributing and you're marketing throughout the world, it doesn't mean that it may work in the same manner. But if it is filed and you'll get a FDA recalls, and if you want to address that FDA recalls, you should know first why this failed. How you know? When you know the proper correlation with the input factors and output variables. But when you don't know the correlation, you can able to do that. So the sometimes product subjects leads to failures. Most robot products, basically this kind of products which you're getting from a DOI or qubit approach will not fail. If it fails also, one can able to understand, one can able to know how to tackle the issues. That is the major advantages of DOE over OFAT. So just as a research point of view, I just gave some statistic here how important this DOE is. A comprehensive review on Scopus revealed that 5,340 results for the keywords design experiments and pharmaceutical since 1978 to till date, right? But it is worth noting that a steadily increasing trend is observed with only 2 documents in 1978, like that is 10 documents with the DOE and pharmaceutical. That means use of design experiments in pharmaceutical, only 10 publications in 1990, 29 in 2000, 24 in 2005, 281 documents up to the last decade, and currently it is around some 500 to 600 publications is showing. That means it is an evolving trend. It is a current new trend. So if you're doing a PG or PhD projects, if you can able to apply this tool to the designing, see DO is not applicable to the formulation alone. It is applicable to any kind of work, like you can pharmacology you can take or biotechnology you can take. If you can able to implement this concept of DO to get a proper and appropriate results that can be published in a very easiest manner, and it can have significance, then that, let us say I have made a nanoparticle and I want to publish it, but when I'm applying a concept of this robust concept of DOE and I can able to produce the robust product with the help of DOE and understanding the factors influence on the responses, and I can able to represent in my paper, it is more worthful than publishing just alone writing one paragraph of how you prepared and writing one paragraph of what is the results you got. So that's where the difference will come, and especially the people who are doing the research, please try to apply this concept of DOE in your projects.